that.
Hersam Acorn and HANradio.com. The leader in local news, sports, arts, and entertainment in southwestern Connecticut.
This is your coffee break on HANradio.com.
It's Friday, March 20th, and this is your coffee break presented by Stratford Orthodontics. I'm Kate Czaplinski in the Shelton studio today with John Kovach and Don Ang. Guys, it's the first day of spring, but you wouldn't know it by the forecast.
Nor by the temperature and the slate gray sky outside.
Well, that's actually pretty typical spring stuff.
It is March. It's not May. It's spring goes a couple of months.
That is true. That is true. Right now, we're under a winter weather advisory issued by the National Weather Service. That in effect until 2 o'clock Saturday morning for all of southern Fairfield County in the area. That means periods of snow, sleet, or freezing rain will cause travel difficulties. The National Weather Service advises the public to be prepared for slippery roads and limited visibility, and thus use caution while driving. They're expecting 2 to 3 inches of snow during the day Friday, mainly afternoon, with highs right around freezing, 80% chance of precipitation. Friday night, mainly before midnight, more precipitation, another 1 to 3 inches. So we're really looking at, say, 3 to 6 inches of snow in Fairfield County. Tomorrow, partly sunny, high in the low 40s. No snow Saturday or predicted at any time during that first week of spring, but it will be cool. We are seeing a number of early dismissals and postponements already in with the snow scheduled to arrive within the next hour or so. Tonight's Division II State Championship Ice Hockey game at Ingalls Rink, that is postponed to 6:30 Saturday, still at Ingalls Rink. Weston High School was to have the opening night for the musical Barnum. That has been canceled, as have all other school activities in Weston. Weston Public Schools are on a 2-hour early dismissal. Darien schools will close early. Darien High at 2:20. Middlesex School 12:20 for Darien High, 12:30 for Middlesex School, Hindley Royal and Tokenique Schools at 1, Holmes School and Ox Ridge School at 1:25. Easton, Reading, and Region 9 schools are dismissing early. Joel Barlow High School at noon, Helen Keller Middle School at 12:40, Reading Elementary School at 12:40, Samuel Staples Elementary School at 1:25, John Reed Middle School at 1:30, and all school-sponsored after-school activities in Easton and Reading are canceled. Check with the Park and Recreation departments in those towns regarding those activities. Milford Public and Parochial Schools on an early dismissal. No afternoon special education preschool today. If you have a child in an after-school program, the child care program in Milford will be closed. All after-school activities, programs, including adult education, canceled. Early dismissal is 2 hours prior to regular closing time in Milford. In Monroe, out-of-district transportation and St. Jude will be on early dismissal schedules. The following school districts are on early dismissals: Stratford, Newtown, Milford, New Milford, Greenwich, Bridgeport, Norwalk, Trumbull, Stamford, Danbury, and Bethel. You have Wilton early dismissal changes at the YMCA. The Wilton early dismissal times are 10:30 for Wilton High School and Middlebrook, so they're already out. Cider Mill, 11:30, Miller Driscoll at 12:30. Wilton YMCA, the Neighborhood Club, Child Watch, and Student Union are canceled at the YMCA. Nursery school closed at 11. Extended day and lunch bunch canceled. Decision on afternoon classes will be made during coffee break. We'll bring that to you if you're interested in Wilton YMCA activities. Intermediate bridge at 1:30 at the Wilton Senior Center canceled. And Fairfield University and Sacred Heart University have both postponed baseball doubleheaders. Boy, could use baseball today, although we will have the NCAA tournament to get us through. That your early dismissals. Don, have we seen any effects on the road yet?
We're not, actually. We just have the normal road work in the normal places. There is a accident, reported crash at West Spring Street in West Haven. Rescue crews on the way there. Other than that, we have roadwork I-91 northbound in Windsor at exit 40 until 2:36 today, according to the state. And also in Norwich, 395 south at exit 83 until 3:06 today. The right lane closed there. But, there is an interesting bit of news here that we forgot to lead with, because it is, I generally steer away from hyperbole, but earth-shaking, I think, would be a fair assessment. What do you think?
I think that's very accurate.
I think so.
For the first time, we have video cameras in our radio studio, and we're kind of testing out, people having to look at us as well as listen to us.
Right.
For a link to that, though, you could check out our Twitter feed, which is at Hersam Radio. That's HERSAM Radio. So, it's interesting.
If listening to us wasn't enough, now you get to see us.
Now we're killing radio stars.
All right. Well, in news this morning, a state trooper was taken to the hospital for minor injuries after a car struck his cruiser on Interstate 95 in the Milford Orange area early this morning, according to the state police. The crash happened near exit 41 northbound and had the highway closed for a short time. The driver of the other vehicle stopped. The trooper's name has not been released at this point, and the accident is under investigation.
A 40-year-old Roxbury woman was caught in a prostitution sting in Shelton, according to police. Shelton detectives and state police set up an undercover operation after receiving complaints of prostitution in local hotels. Detectives responded to an online ad and arranged a meeting with the woman at a Bridgeport Avenue hotel Thursday, Detective Chris Nugent said. They have not identified the hotel. The suspect, identified by police as Tamara Emmons, met with an undercover officer and agreed on a fee in exchange for a sexual act. A search of her hotel room found crack cocaine and drug paraphernalia, according to police. Emmons was released after posting a $1,000 bond and will be arraigned April 2nd at Superior Court in Derby on drug and prostitution charges. This was investigated by the state police statewide Organized Crime Investigative Task Force. That's a branch of the state police. Coffee break time coming up on 11:10.
Thanks, John. Well, Seymour police have arrested a man who they said tried to stab and kill both of his parents on Wednesday evening. Police say they have charged 36-year-old Christopher Nevers of Skokarat Street with first-degree criminal attempt at assault, first-degree assault on an elderly person, third-degree criminal mischief, second-degree threatening, and interfering with an officer. Police said they responded to the home around 9:30 on Wednesday for the report that Nevers tried to stab and kill both of his parents with a knife. When police arrived on the scene, Nevers had run away from the home, and both of his parents were outside of the home waiting for police. Police tried to track Nevers but lost sight of him, and he could not be located. They returned back to the home on Thursday morning and found Nevers in the basement, where he returned sometime during the early morning hours. He was arrested and taken into custody. Police said an investigation revealed that Nevers and his parents became involved in an argument about damage that was found inside the home. During the argument, police said Nevers grabbed a knife from the kitchen area and then made the threats. His parents were not harmed during the incident. Coffee break time is 11:11.
So, Don, anything new on the roads?
Actually, yes. We have just received it over from the DOT. We've got a crash in New Haven, 95 northbound, about a half mile before exit 50. And we're also still watching that crash on West Springsteen. I keep saying West. I'm wanting to say Springsteen. I can't say street. After it's Rob Adams in the building actually that's doing this to me.
It's the Adams effect.
It is as yes, West Spring Street in West Haven. Road crews were on the way to a reported crash there, and we have a crash in New Haven, 95 northbound, about a half mile before exit 50. So coffee break time, 11:11. Make a wish. I wish that this. I wish this video stream keeps going. It's nervous time in the studio.
That's the worst wish ever.
That is a bad wish.
All right, but on that note, we are going to take a break, and we'll be back with more Coffee Break after this.
Your child has fallen and broken his arm. You need to see an orthopedist fast. Think Coastal Ortho Express in Norwalk. Don't wait hours in the ER. Save a trip and money by going straight to an orthopedic specialist at Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care in Norwalk. No appointment necessary. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care, 203-845-2070. Open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or call 203-845-2070. Fast.
Just because it's no longer boat or beach season, you don't have to abandon your lifestyle. At the Dock Shop, it's beach season all year long. The Dock Shop has just loaded up with many new products that are perfect for the gift-giving season. Fishing tackle, jewelry, nautical-themed accessories, lighting, tableware, and more. Are you heading out for a tropical winter getaway? Come by the Dock Shop and check out styles by Margaritaville Apparel, Montauk Tackle, Game Guard, and others. Stop in at the Dock Shop and enjoy the New England coast all year long. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien. DockShop.com.
Healthy, confident smiles begin at Stratford Orthodontics. Conveniently located on Main Street, we are Stratford's hometown orthodontist. We offer the latest in orthodontic technology, including Damon braces and Invisalign. We always accept new patients. Call today to schedule a complimentary consultation. 203-375-8332. Stratford Orthodontics, 2499 Main Street, Stratford. 203-375-8332. And online at stratfordsmile.com.
Hersam Acorn and HANradio.com.
Welcome back to your coffee break, presented by Stratford Orthodontics on HANradio.com. John Kovach with Kate Czaplinski, Donald Eng, Rob Adams joining us for sports. This is the first video coffee break ever. It's a historic day for us. What other historic events happened on this day?
Well, it's been a busy day in history. March 20th, 1792, in Paris, the Legislative Assembly approves the use of the guillotine. 1815, Napoleon Bonaparte re-enters Paris after escaping from Elba, began his 100 Days rule. 1852, Harriet Beecher Stowe's book Uncle Tom's Cabin, first published. 1897, a sports update. The first intercollegiate basketball game featuring 5 players per team was held. Was Yale versus UPenn. Yale won by a score of 32-10. 1900, the European powers announced they had agreed to keep China's doors open to trade. Notice I didn't say China had agreed. I said the European powers had agreed to keep China's doors open. 1976, Patty Hearst, convicted of armed robbery for her role in the holdup of a San Francisco bank. 1996, Eric and Lyle Menendez found guilty of the first-degree murder of their parents. And our historical highlight, or actually a bit of a low light, 20 years ago. I can't believe it was that long ago today.
The Japanese government says this wasn't the work of a lone madman, but an organized attack. Eyewitness reports suggest several people were involved in planting containers filled with poison gas at different underground stations. Some were disguised with masks, others wore sunglasses. But beyond that, officials still don't know who launched this fatal attack or why.
1995, members of the Aum Shinriko Doomsday Cult released sarin gas in the Tokyo subways. It killed 13 people, injured 6,000 more on this day, March 20th, 1995. And with your look back in history, I am Donald Ing. And now we throw it to Rob Adams.
Gentlemen, good morning, and good morning to everyone watching. We start at Trumbull High School, where Bunnell punched their ticket to the Class L basketball final with an 80-79 win over Bassick in overtime. Bunnell High's Ryan Pittman stepped to the foul line with the Bulldogs trailing 79-78 with 5.4 seconds remaining in the extra session and hit 2 free throws. As you heard here on HANradio.com, the Lions had one last shot. 80-79 from right to left. Here comes Baldwin. Baldwin driving. Baldwin with 2. Dishes off. Right side. Whitehurst for 3, and he missed it! And the Bunnell Bulldogs are going to play for the state championship. So number 5 Bunnell at 23-4 will play number 7 Naugatuck 20-4 on the year, for the championship on Sunday at 3 p.m. at Mohegan Sun Arena in Uncasville. Dante Peeler scored 19 points, 6 in the final quarter and 4 in the extra session before fouling out with $1:32 remaining in OT and his team leading 75-72. Patrick Goff scored 8 of his 16 points in the first quarter. Kerone Baldwin had a phenomenal night, 37 points for Bassick. He led all scorers. The other Saturday basketball action pertaining to our area, girls hoops, 12:30. St. Joe's and Cromwell will meet for the Class M championship. In Class M at 3 o'clock, it'll be Notre Dame of Fairfield and the Weaver Beavers. In girls basketball at 6:15, the Wilton Warriors will play South Windsor for the Class Double L title. And in boys basketball at 8:15, just a monster matchup. West Hill and Fairfield Prep play for the Class Double L title. The ECC is losing 4 teams, with Ledyard, East Lyme, Fitch, and New London departing to form the Southern Connecticut, make that the Southeastern Connecticut Athletic Conference, the SCAC. The teams will work with the Southern Connecticut Conference, of course the SCC, to fill schedules. The new conference could begin as soon as winter 2016. We have a lot of hockey on HAN Radio this weekend. The D2 championship between North Branford and Suffield Granby Windsor Locks has been moved to tomorrow at 6:30 to round out a triple header at Ingalls Rink in New Haven. Game 1 tomorrow now will be Bassick and E.O. Smith Tolland, the Bucks, in the D3 championship at 10 a.m. Game 2 will feature the all-FCAC showdown of Greenwich and Darien. And, as the legendary Warner Wolf says, let's go to the videotape.
Center, nice pass out, Jake Kirby. Kirby in a possible breakaway. Down on net, backhands and scores! Hash marks, brings it across. Brendan Cassidy is stoned by Sheehan Delaney, and now the Blue Wave score. All that traffic out in front, and the Blue Wave were able to take advantage with the rebound. They take a 2-1 lead.
Always dangerous when you have that much traffic right in front of the goalie. You know something like that could happen.
And it's been all in the Greenwich zone, but it's turned over out front, and they lift it and score! A big turnover, and Casey Cunningham makes Fairfield Prep pay. Greenwich takes a 1-0 lead. From Jack McGowan. This goes out of the zone again. Here's Larson. Larson on the turnover, all alone, and he scores! Monty Larson, shorthanded. Greenwich has a 2-0 lead.
There you go, a little highlight package for you as you heard it here on HAN Radio throughout the year with Greenwich and Darien. Looking forward to the matchup tomorrow. The two teams have met twice this year, playing to a 3-3 tie on February 3rd, while the Blue Wave won the FCAC championship on March 7th, beating the Cardinals pretty soundly 5-3. We'll have all of the hockey for you in New Haven beginning tomorrow morning at 9:50. Sports is sponsored by the Hersam Acorn e-edition. You can check out all of Hersam Acorn's e-editions for free this next week. The e-edition puts an interactive version of our weekly print editions on your computer, tablet, and phone. You don't have to wait for the postman to drop your hometown paper off on Thursdays, because each edition is available online by 6 each Thursday morning. The e-edition is searchable and also gives you access to our extensive archives. Find a link to the e-edition atop your hometown news website or download the free app for your phone or tablet on iTunes, Google Play, or Amazon. They're available right now. You can find links to all our newspapers and websites at hersamacorn.com. Pretty cool to get the e-edition free for the next week. With sports, I'm Rob Adams. Coffee break time is 11:20.
Great game last night, Rob, but I got to tell you, if the people at Ingalls Rink are listening, the way this is going, budget a little extra time at the end of this game, because we can't seem to get a game that ends in regulation.
No, we tend to be, first of all, don't we have double overtime Jake Zimmer?
Oh, yes, you do.
Yeah, we do. That's part of our crew tomorrow. Jake Zimmer, a student out of St. Joe's. It seems like every game he's been on, we've gone to single or double overtime. He's one or two have gone to regulation, but Jake's been kind of a good luck charm if you like high drama. Hopefully my voice is ready for 3 real nail-biters tomorrow, but it should be great hockey. We saw the Bucks last year in that loss to Newtown, so you know they're coming back fired up.
Good team.
Very good team. We know how good the Blue Wave and Cardinals are. Cardinals are going to have to play well. They're going to have to play a little better than I saw them play against Glastonbury, and I know you were right alongside of me.
I still think, yes, they won the game in overtime, but I got to tell you, I would almost slot them, of the 4 teams I saw that night, they might have been the 4th best in terms of what I saw effort-wise. Might
have been, for sure, because Xavier was pretty good against Darien as well. So it should be a wonderful matchup, and we'll have it all for you here tomorrow on HANradio.com, and we'll look forward into the spring season around, say, 9 o'clock tomorrow night.
There you go. Thanks, Rob. And just a reminder, as Rob just said, the Division II Ice Hockey Championship that was scheduled at Ingalls Rink tonight has been postponed to Saturday at 6:30. That among a number of postponements, as we're under a winter weather advisory issued by the National Weather Service until 2 o'clock tomorrow morning for all of southern Fairfield County. A winter weather advisory means periods of snow, sleet, or freezing rain will cause travel difficulties. The Weather Service is advising the public to be prepared for slippery roads, limited visibility, and to use caution while driving. Snow accumulations of 2 to 3 inches are expected during the day today, mainly afternoon. Not seeing any snow outside of our studio here in Shelton yet. Highs right around the freezing mark. Visibility will go down as the snow starts to fall. Roads will be covered, and the temperature's going to drop to a low of 24 tonight, when there will be an additional 1 to 3 inches of snow possible. So we're looking at 3 to 6 inches done by tomorrow morning. Partly sunny, high in the low 40s. No snow forecast Saturday or any time during the first week of spring, though it will remain cold. And again, most schools are dismissing early today. We'll do a quick rundown here, and that would be Weston, where they have also canceled the opening night performance for Barnum the Musical. All after-school activities canceled. They're on a 2-hour early dismissal. Darien schools closing early. Easton, Reading, and Region 9 closing early. Milford Public and Parochial closing early. Monroe, out-of-district transportation, and St. Jude's early dismissal. Stratford schools closing early. Newtown schools closing early. New Milford, Greenwich, Bridgeport, Trumbull, Stamford, New Canaan, Danbury, and Bethel, all closing early, as is Wilton. Wilton YMCA is making a decision any minute on activities. Stay tuned to Coffee Break for an update on that.
And actually, John, we just have one additional thing. When I'm not in here, I am the Monroe Courier editor. I just, while you were talking, got a text. All evening activities tonight are canceled in the Monroe School District. Tonight's performance of Peter Pan is canceled. It has been rescheduled for Sunday night at 7 p.m. Tickets from tonight's performance will be honored Sunday night. And then also, as you mentioned, out-of-district transportation and St. Jude School on an early dismissal today. So that's the latest news from Monroe.
Are the schools themselves, do we know?
As far as I know, as far as I can tell, the Monroe public school system is not dismissing early. St. Jude is dismissing because obviously they have some kids that come from out of town.
Right.
And all kids that are bused from outside of the district are dismissing early. The actual Monroe public schools still look to be on track for a regular dismissal here.
All right, thanks, Don. Anything new on the roads?
We just have those incidents that we continue to watch. We have an accident in New Haven on I-95 northbound between exits 48 and 50. That's got the right lane closed. It was reported about 20 minutes ago, so that should be clear before too much longer.
Yeah, while you were reading the Monroe stuff to me?
Yes. Oh, cleared?
Cleared.
All right, then. Well, that's all I had. So,
all right, so that's the end of that for Don.
Let's get back to more news then. All right. The man who last month pleaded guilty to fleeing an accident that killed a Weston cyclist in 2013 is expected to be sentenced in Superior Court in Danbury today. 22-year-old Alexandra Lee of New Milford faces up to 5 years in prison for the charge of misconduct with the motor vehicle, 5 years for the charge of tampering with physical evidence, and up to 10 years for the charge of evading responsibility leading to death. In addition, he faces up to 7 years for an unrelated narcotics charge. 59-year-old Tom Steiner Threckeld, an avid cyclist from Weston, was killed in the December 4th, 2013 accident after he collided with the passenger side of Lee's car while riding on Route 302 in Bethel. The victim approached an intersection where Lee's car made a left turn in front of him, causing him to hit the car and fall from his bicycle, police said. Lee drove away and avoided apprehension for more than a month. Weston Forum Assistant Editor Patty Gay, she's going to be joining us at noon, around 12:30 actually, for Behind the News, and she's going to talk a little bit more about this story because she's going to be covering the sentencing today, and I know the wife of the victim also wants her statement made public that she's going to say today at the sentencing.
And Patty will also be discussing the Robert Durst case, which took a turn today when I saw on the Today Show. They're now wondering if he's not responsible for a string of deaths all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, the story is just so bizarre and unsettling, but there's a lot of local connections, which we found out recently. I mean, Deborah Greenwood of the Family Justice Center, she recently was explaining that Kathy's Place, which is a safe house for women in Fairfield County, is named after Kathy Durst. And Patty Gay spoke with a friend of Kathy Durst, who was the wife of Robert Durst, who disappeared, and they believe, some believe he's responsible for that.
Fascinating story. You really can't make that one up. In other news, Milford police have charged a second person with conspiracy to commit larceny at the Target store in the Connecticut Post Mall. Police arrested Chenille Myers, 20 years old, of West Haven, after they concluded an investigation into a complaint regarding employee-related theft last December. Myers is charged with taking merchandise illegally marked down by an acquaintance who was working as a cashier. Myers was not employed by Target, but a friend was. And that friend marked down prices for a total discount of $1,470.01. Myers is charged with fourth-degree larceny, fourth-degree conspiracy to commit fourth-degree larceny. Released on a promise to appear in court April 14th.
Wouldn't you hate it if that 1 cent put you over the top for like larceny 4
for a different larceny?
That would have been awesome. I'm reading that, and that's what I'm thinking. Can we get over that threshold?
If you had a bottle or can that was worth 5 cents that was also stolen.
Wait a minute, don't get the disc. I've got to mail that in.
Wait, I'm being charged on full retail.
Well, SheltonHerald.com has some cool pictures up right now that Shelton resident Jessica Florchak took of a bobcat in the White Hills area of Shelton. At first, she thought it was a cat, and then she realized it was much bigger, and she grabbed a camera and took some photos, and they're up right now at SheltonHerald.com. I mean, I know it's in that Shelton, White Hills, Monroe area. There's been a lot of sightings lately, for sure.
But no turkeys.
No,
maybe the bobcat. Maybe the bobcat.
Maybe he ate the turkey.
Oh boy.
No one ever contacted us about that, about the Bridgeport Avenue turkey, whether they've seen him since he was supposedly hit by a car on Route 8.
You'd really not have any way of knowing because there are so many turkeys. I mean, unless it had some distinctive marking.
Well, it was a loner. Most turkeys travel with other turkeys.
That's true.
This turkey was a loner, and sometimes a loner's got to be alone.
On that note, we're going to take a little break, be back with more news, traffic, and weather. You're listening to and watching Coffee Break, presented by Stratford Orthodontics on HANradio.com.
Alliance. We are an industry leader in coordinating transportation for large events such as corporate road shows, conferences, and special events. Our team of experts understands the dynamics and logistics of high-pressure situations and complex arrangements, all within a rapidly changing environment. Since 1999, we have added charter jets, event management, and personal protection to our range of services. Mention this ad for $25 off your next round-trip reservation. Alliance and you. Together, we can achieve the extraordinary. 855-546-6996 or alliancelimo.com.
It's Lots of Characters, specializing in children's birthday parties with your child's favorite characters. When you want to party hardy, when you need to celebrate, call us, we won't be late. We help create lasting memories for you and your child on their special day. Call us at 203-590-1791 or visit our website at lotsofcharacters.org for more information and to see our party packages. Lots of Characters, 203-590-1791 or online at lotsofcharacters.org.
Just because it's no longer boat or beach season, you don't have to abandon your lifestyle. At the Dock Shop, it's beach season all year long. The Dock Shop has just loaded up many new products that are perfect for the gift-giving season. Fishing tackle, jewelry, nautical-themed accessories, lighting, tableware, and more. Are you heading out for a tropical winter getaway? Come by the Dock Shop and check out styles by Margaritaville Apparel, Montauk Tackle, Game Guard, and others. Stop in at the Dock Shop and enjoy the New England coast all year long. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road. Visit us at dockshop.com.
It's easy to advertise on hanradio.com, reach 263,000 listeners each month with our sports programming and talk programming. Call Mary Ann Hersam at 203-417-5199.
You're listening to Hersam Acorn Radio.
All right, we're coming up on 11:31 on your coffee break, presented by Stratford Orthodontics. Kate Czaplinski in the Shelton studio with John Kovach and Donald Eng. And John, some sad news for some of us.
This is of interest more to you guys, although I'm trying to expand my horizons here. A class action suit has been filed in California Superior Court accusing some of the country's best-selling wines of containing dangerous levels of arsenic. A lab tested more than 1,300 bottles of wine for arsenic levels. Of those, 83 contained levels of arsenic as much as 5 times the amount the EPA approves for water. 2 other labs did their own test and got the same results. The lawsuit was filed Thursday and accuses winemakers of not warning people about the danger. Nearly all the wines in this suit sell for less than $10, and it was mostly the white or blush varieties that contained the higher arsenic levels. Wines mentioned in the lawsuit include Franzia, Menage a Trois, Sutter Home, Wine Cube, Charles Shaw, Glenellen, Cupcake, Beringer, and Vendage. Lawyers say that those wines are produced in California and make up a large portion of the state's wine industry. Thoughts?
Well, that's bad news for journalists if cheap hooch is going to poison you.
Sure.
Well, I will say I'm happy to see that Barefoot's not on here because that's an inexpensive Pinot Grigio that I enjoy. I don't see it on this list, but I've had most of these.
Well, alcohol kills arsenic, right? Isn't that
right? That's the theory.
I was an English major.
You know what? It's interesting though because around Christmas time when I was buying my aunt a bottle of wine, I was buying her organic wine because she thinks she's allergic to the sulfites. But one of the men who worked there said, "You know what? My wife thought the same thing, so I started having her drink European red wines,
the low arsenic variety,
because they don't have the same pesticides and maybe arsenic that some of the California wines have."
And I like how they said that we didn't warn the consumers. What kind of warning did they want to put on the wine there? The warning: this product contains arsenic.
Well, you just spin it positive. You put a big sticker on the now with less arsenic.
And I heard them say that Charles Shaw was on there. I just had my first $2 Chuck the other day. That's the Trader Joe's. That's the Trader Joe's. Man, they used to colloquially call it $2 Chuck. They don't sell it in Connecticut because in Connecticut we have these archaic laws that you can't sell wine in supermarkets. But yeah, so.
Jeez, when I was a kid, there was always a box of Franzia at a party.
The boxes are coming back.
The boxes are coming back, but there are nicer boxes now. Like the Boda box is good, and things like that.
So you don't have to crimp the paper bag around your
you don't feel
around your MD 2020 anymore.
The one
which was not on the list, by the way.
No, doesn't mean you're in the clear. The one that got me was, and it was 3 years ago that my wife and I were in California, and just steal a moment to thank the doctors at Sulpizio USCD Medical Center for the miraculous work that they did. But we were at a CVS to pick up some stuff. and I'm standing online to buy prescriptions. I look next to me, and there's
best.
wine on sale.
It's the best.
Wait a minute. wait, time out. These aren't wiffle bats or candy, and it's
great.
wine? This is awesome.
Great.
Or the Virginia brew-throughs. Those are always jarring to a New Englander. The drive-through liquor stores down in the mid-Atlantic states.
Yeah, or the drive-through... not smoothies. What are they called? Like hurricanes, basically. Yeah, drive-through hurricanes.
What,
in New Orleans.
an actual cocktail? That seems excessive.
You just have to leave the top of the straw paper on it, and that lets people know you're not actually drinking it. You're just taking it somewhere else to drink. It's a fact. My sister lived in New Orleans.
I feel that is not really a very good fail-safe.
How many people have invested hours of their lives trying to figure out how to get the straw back on top?
Or you just buy a box of straws and just like tear off like 30 of them, the bottoms, and just like leave the tops on.
You are quick. I like you.
Well, I bet people are happier in those areas.
This socially responsible segment brought to you.
Seriously, it's Hoda and Kathy Lee is broken out here. Many Stratford residents will see lower tax bills in Mayor John Harkins's proposed 2015-16 town budget, according to the Stratford Star. Harkins unveiled his $207.1 million spending plan last Monday. The budget is $2.89 million more than the current plan, an increase of 1.42%. The proposed tax rate would be 36.88 mils, up from the current 35.63. But revaluation, Harkins told the Star, could mean homeowners paying less while businesses pay more. You can read more at StratfordStar.com. Your coffee break time presented by Stratford Orthodontics at 11:38.
Thanks, John. Well, Enfield police have arrested a teenager in connection with one of the several fires that has caused fear among residents of the Hazardville section of town, and they're calling him a suspect in other blazes. The Journal-Inquirer reports that police charged 16-year-old Davidson Izo with first-degree arson. His case was transferred from juvenile to adult court. Izo lives on Elm Street near vacant buildings that have been set on fire at least 8 times since last August. He has been charged with setting fire to a vacant ranch-style house in late December. Izo has been detained in lieu of $750,000 bond since he was arrested March 3rd. His father, James Izo, told the Associated Press on Thursday night that his son is innocent and they're hiring a lawyer. Coffee break time is 11:38.
NBC and the Red Nose Day organization have selected, should have read this right out of the wine story, have selected 12 poverty-fighting charities that will benefit from this extraordinary television event. NBC will televise its 3-hour Red Nose Day special Thursday, May 21st from 8 to 11 p.m. in front of a live audience. Stand-up performances, sketch comedy, parodies, and music from A-list artists will be part of the telecast. Money raised during Red Nose Day will be used to fund programs that address the immediate needs of children and young people living in poverty in the U.S. and internationally, including Africa, Asia, and Latin America. The money will be split among domestic and international poverty issues. Pre-selected charity parties include the Boys and Girls Clubs of America, Children's Health Fund, Feeding America, Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, Global Fund, LIFT, National Council of La Raza, National Urban League, Oxfam America, Save the Children, based in Fairfield, and the United Way. Coffee break time coming up on 11:40. Don, is anything new out there on the roads?
Nothing new, but we do have an update on that West Haven crash. According to WTNH, a car flipped over in a residential neighborhood after a high-speed chase this morning. Just after 10:30, state police began pursuing a car that was traveling at a high rate of speed on I-95 near exit 42. The car exited the highway and led police on a high-speed chase through West Haven. The driver subsequently crashed in a yard at 253 West Spring Street. State and local police converged on the scene, which is still active. There is no word yet on the driver's identity or injuries. Police have not yet said how or why the chase began, so that all according to WTNH Connecticut. Other than that, we just have the normal road work in the normal places. Road work 91 north in Windsor at exit 37. Also East Hartford, State Route 2 westbound at exit 5. That's got a lane closed there also. Coffee break time, 11:40.
Thanks, Don. Currently 32 outside our Shelton studio. Cloudy. We are awaiting the arrival of snow and are under a winter weather advisory until 2 o'clock Saturday morning. That'll mean snow, slippery roads, poor visibility, number of early dismissals, number of cancellations, snow today, snow tonight, 3 to 6 inches of total accumulation possible. Tomorrow, in the 40s, cloudy, no chance of precipitation. Currently 32 outside our Shelton studio, 31 in Ridgefield, 33 in Fairfield. You have something to say.
I was going to say 3 to 6 inches. I scoff at 3 to 6. We've been shoveling like
nothing.
20. I said, our shoveling muscles are rippling.
I told you it was going to get better. See, 3 to 6 ain't that bad, right?
Yes, but when you said that, it was actually about 58 degrees outside.
Oh, well. Well, we are going to take a break, and we'll be back with more Coffee Break after this. Healthy, confident smiles begin at Stratford Orthodontics. Conveniently located on Main Street, we are Stratford's hometown orthodontist. We offer the latest in orthodontic technology, including Damon braces and Invisalign. We always accept new patients. Call today to schedule a complimentary consultation. 203-375-8332. Stratford Orthodontics, 2499 Main Street, Stratford. 203-375-8332. And online at stratfordsmile.com.
Did you know that taking dance lessons is a great date night idea? Arthur Murray Grand Ballroom of Greenwich is a fabulous place to learn to dance and meet new people. Located at 6 Lewis Street, our studio is staffed with professional instructors ready to teach you salsa, waltz, rumba, hustle, tango. There's a dance for every season. And we are rated #1 on the Knot.com. We are the wedding dance specialists. Take advantage of our new student offer, only $49. Call 203-769-1800. Visit us online at arthurmurraygreenwich.com.
Located in the heart of picturesque downtown Ridgefield at 13 Governor Street, Colby's is the area's premier retailer for blinds, shades, shutters, and draperies, and is one of the select few Hunter Douglas Gallery dealers. A family-owned and operated company, Colby's experienced staff will work with you in choosing the best treatments for your home or office and offer free measuring and expert installation. Colby's also carries an extensive line of decorative fabrics including Schumacher, Durley, Tebow, and more. Or browse over 400 books in our wallpaper library from famous designers such as Stroheim, Schumacher, Ralph Lauren, Tebow, and York. Take advantage of our Fashion in Motion savings event with savings and rebates on Hunter Douglas shades with Power Rise technology. Colby's of Ridgefield. We are committed to your complete satisfaction. 203-438-8531.
Hersam Acorn and HANradio.com.
Welcome back to your coffee break, presented by Stratford Orthodontics on HAN Radio, and we're on video today for the first time. John Kovach with Kate Czaplinski, Donald Eng, Rob Adams joining us, fresh off calling yet another overtime game in the state playoffs.
That's exactly right, John, and I'm happy the TV and radio class I once took at Mahopac High School back in circa 1986 is all finally paying off. So good morning, everyone. We start at Trumbull High School, where Bunnell punched their ticket to the Class L basketball final with an 80-79 win over Bassick in overtime. Bunnell's Ryan Pittman stepped to the foul line with the Bulldogs trailing Bassick High 79-78 and 5.4 seconds remaining in the extra session. He hit 2 free throws. By the way, a somewhat controversial call. There was contact, but as you heard right here on HANradio.com, the Lions had one last shot.
80-79 from right to left. Here comes Baldwin. Baldwin driving. Baldwin with 2. Dishes off. Right side. Whitehurst for 3, and he missed it. And the Bunnell Bulldogs are going to play for the state championship.
Devontae Whitehurst's 3 at the buzzer, just a hair long. Number 5, Bunnell, now 23-4, will play number 7, Naugatuck. They are 20-4. That'll be the championship game, Class L, Sunday at 3 at Mohegan Sun Arena. Dante Peeler scored 19 points, 6 in the final quarter and 4 in the extra session before fouling out with 1:32 remaining in the extra session and his team leading 75-72. Patrick Goff scored 8 of his 16 points in the first quarter. Jerome Baldwin had 37 points points for Bassick to lead all scorers. He was just absolutely brilliant. In Saturday's basketball action pertaining to schools around our area this weekend, this will be all tomorrow. Girls basketball, 12:30, St. Joe's and Cromwell in Class M. Boys basketball at 3 o'clock, Notre Dame of Fairfield taking on the Weaver Beavers, that also in Class M. Girls basketball, South Windsor and Wilton meet for the Class L Championship. And at 8:15, the Class L Boys Championship will be quite a battle, West Hill and Fairfield Prep. The ECC is losing 4 teams, with Ledyard, East Lyme, Fitch, and New London departing to form the Southeastern Connecticut Athletic Conference, the SCAC. The teams will work with the Southern Connecticut Conference, of course the SCC, to fill schedules. The new conference could begin as soon as winter 2016. We have a lot of hockey on HAN radio this weekend, but really it's all going to be tomorrow and tomorrow night as well. The D2 championship between North Branford and Suffield Granby Windsor Locks has been moved to tomorrow at 6:30. That's tomorrow night, of course. They're not going to play tomorrow morning. That would be a little bit strange, although hockey rinks do tend to have some strange times. They were scheduled to play tonight at 7:30. The weather has wiped that out. It'll round out a triple header at Ingalls Rink in New Haven. Game 1 tomorrow is Massac and E.O. Smith Tolland, the Bucks, in the D3 Championship at 10 a.m. Game 2 will feature the all-FCAC showdown of Greenwich and Darien, 2 teams that are somewhat familiar with each other. And as the legendary Warner Wolf says, let's go to the videotape.
Center, nice pass out, Jake Kirby. Kirby in a possible breakaway. Down on net, backhands and scores! Hash marks, brings it across. Brendan Cassidy is stoned by Sheehan Delaney, and now the Blue Wave score. All that traffic out in front, and the Blue Wave were able to take advantage with the rebound. They take a 2-1 lead.
Always dangerous when you have that much traffic right in front of the goalie. You know something like that could happen.
And it's been all in the Greenwich zone, but it's turned over out front, and they lift it and score! A big turnover, and Casey Cunningham makes Fairfield Prep pay. Greenwich takes a 1-0 lead from Jack McGowan. This goes out of the zone again. Here's Larson. Larson on the turnover, all alone, and he scores! Monty Larson, shorthanded. Greenwich has a 2-0 lead.
I just want to say, by the way, I was not responsible for picking out the highlights, even though my colleague and friend Donald Eng wants to throw down with me right now.
It was a bit disappointing, but you deal with these setbacks and you come back stronger sometimes, or you plot the demise of the person responsible. Either way.
Boy, okay, well there's that. The
or
two
you
teams
curl up in a fetal position and surrender.
Well, I was going to say, you sob quietly to yourself into your emergency Cabernet. Well, you have options.
That is a true Fairfield Prep Jesuit speaking right there. The two teams have met twice this year, that being Greenwich and Darien. They played to a 3-3 tie at the Dorothy Hamill Rink in Greenwich on February 3rd, while the Blue Wave won the FCAC Championship at Terry Connors Rink in Stamford on March 7th. They beat the Cardinals 5-3. We'll have all of the hockey for you in New Haven beginning tomorrow morning at 9:50. Sports is sponsored by Hersam Acorn. All Hersam Acorn newspapers and websites launched a reader survey this week in an effort to better serve our many communities. The online survey, which takes just 5 to 10 minutes to complete, seeks to find out which ways readers prefer to get the news and what kinds of news and advertising are of the most interest. The Southwestern Connecticut and Westchester Media Company, which owns and operates HAN Radio, that's us by the way, wants to learn more about what kinds of social media readers use, as well as find out what readers like or dislike about our various email alerts and online offerings, along with our many print products and HAN Radio itself. Say nice things about Rob. You can find links to the survey in a story published on most Hersam Acorn websites, such as the one you are listening to this on right now or watching. If you can't find it, just click the Contact Us link under the Help tab in the upper right corner of the website and contact the editor to ask for a link to the online survey. With sports, I'm Rob Adams. Coffee break time, 11:50.
So is that why we have video in here today? Did we give in to the drum beat of demand to actually see into the coffee break studio?
It's behind the news in a whole new way, John.
Some things you don't want to see.
And yet, it's being shown and seen around the world.
Yes,
dun,
it
dun,
is.
Dun. I didn't have the audio queued up, so.
No, we need that.
All right.
We need more sound effects. Huge weekend of hockey and basketball. Thrilled to be bringing the listeners the game. And what I like about with the way we do it is if you're on the road, people are running around Saturday doing errands, they can listen to us on the smartphone.
Yeah.
You know, you're not kind of saddled.
Yeah, you know, and that's the thing that has always pleased me about HAN Radio, and now, of course, with the video as well on the Hersam Acorn Network, is that if you know how to do it, and it's not that hard. You know, you take one of those audio plugs out of your phone, go into your car, Bluetooth it, or use a USB cable, you can get the audio right onto your car speakers. I've done it. I listened to you and Cato when you guys, and Paul, when you did the Greenwich St. Joe's FCAC semifinal. I'm flying up the Taconic Parkway in New York, and there are you guys coming out of my car speakers. I've done it with Coffee Break. I was listening to Don and Kate and you and Josh when I was down in Virginia. I mean, it's great.
Yeah. I think haven't we actually gotten traffic updates from Marty Hersam on the Parkway?
Yes, we have.
I was actually in Virginia listening to Coffee Break, and Marty gave a shout out to my mom and son as well. So yeah, I mean, it's really cool what we're able to do, and it's all part of why we love what we do. So, and we'll keep it going.
Kate's rejoined us in the studio. Kate's rejoined us here because we're going to talk a little bit the news that broke the other night, Wednesday night, when we were at Ingalls Rink. The name of the new Hartford minor league baseball team, the Yard Goats.
Love it.
So,
I have a feeling that might be the first time a team has ever been named in an act of sabotage.
So, Kate, you found some of the other possibilities interesting?
Well, there was just a story that Fox CT published about some of the more absurd and ridiculous names. I think my favorite is the Obazags of Maryland, which is actually just gazebo backwards.
Really?
There's a gazebo on the grounds of the Key School in Annapolis, Maryland. So basically, they're backwards gazebo.
There you go.
Yeah, and there's
I'm telling you, still.
No. So now can we root for the New York STEM?
I also like the lug nuts. Those are good.
I'm leaving that one right there, Don. I'm going to let that one go.
That was brilliant, admit it.
That was excellent. But, you know, Chris Kalin's in the room. I got to be careful. One of my favorite, unique names in Yuma, Arizona, the Yuma Criminals, because they play in a former prison. Or they play, the school is a former prison. So that's a unique one right there.
Oh, wow. I think I just found my new favorite one.
Which one?
The Scottsdale Community College Fighting Artichokes.
And on that note, I'll let you guys get back to coffee breaking.
Thanks, Rob.
And enjoy Behind the News coming up, Radio Arts and Leisure for our radio listeners as well today here on HANradio.com. But no sports tonight. We'll have all the hockey tomorrow.
Thanks, Rob. Kate rejoining us. In other news, Weston First Selectman Gail Weinstein testified in favor of proposed special education funding reforms before the State Education Committee on behalf of the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities. Weinstein spoke in favor of a bill that would push changes to the excess cost threshold for special education, which is currently at 4.5 times the average per pupil educational cost, to set the threshold at 2 times the average by June 30th of 2021. You can read more at thewestonforum.com. And also, a 91-year-old New Jersey man who stopped at Darien Police Headquarters earlier this month was found to be a missing person, according to police. Curtis Hall of East Orange, New Jersey, went to Darien Police asking directions back to New Jersey. The desk officer noticed that he was having trouble comprehending the directions, ran the man's name through the National Crime Information Center database, and discovered that the prior day he had been listed as a missing person. Darien Police contacted Hall's daughter, who went to Darien to pick him up. It's interesting there how alert the desk officer was to have the wherewithal to pick up on that and do that.
Yeah, that's great. In other good news, Easton Police recognized a DATCO school bus driver for his decisive action in ensuring the safety of students during a burglary in progress at the home of one of the students on his bus last December. Police Chief James Candy and Captain Richard Doyle presented the award to bus driver David Spellman March 10th during the Easton, Reading, and Region 9 monthly safety meeting at the DATCO headquarters in Bethel. In presenting the Easton Police Department Civilian Award to David Spellman, police said they were recognizing him for decisive action to ensure the safety of the students in his charge. The incident unfolded December 11th on Beers Road after Spellman dropped off a student at his house. The route took the driver on a loop back near the student's house. The teen flagged down Spellman when he drove by again. The student told Spellman he believed his house was being burglarized. Scary. Spellman told the student to get back on the bus and called his dispatcher, and the DATCO bus company called the Easton Police Department to report the incident. The dispatcher told police the bus driver was following the suspected burglar in a westerly direction on Beers Road in the area of Sunset Road. So kind of a nice story there that he got recognized for that.
Not
Scary.
exactly an inconspicuous surveillance vehicle, I think. The bus driver was...
No.
Is that big yellow school bus following me?
And I don't know if you saw, I saw footage on both Doing It Local and News 12 had. They had a school bus with 11 students on it catch fire yesterday afternoon in Bridgeport. Everyone got off safe. There were no injuries, but it really did significant damage to that school bus. In other news, the Connecticut Department of Transportation will host a public information meeting regarding a proposed roundabout at the intersection of Routes 110 and 111, that in Monroe. The meeting will be 7 o'clock Tuesday night in Monroe Town Hall Council Chambers. There will be a presentation by the DOT staff, and then the public will be allowed to comment and ask questions. The DOT contends that the roundabout would address safety and traffic at that intersection, which is a bizarre two-way split, kind of like driving on a fork right now.
Right. You come to a triangle when you're coming Shelton Road, when you're coming from Shelton into Monroe. And the road you're on splits, but both splits are two ways. So depending on if you're coming onto 110, you kind of have to kamikaze it across the intersection there and sort of hope no one's coming. Although the roundabout they're proposing, it looks complicated, but then again, so did the one at exit 48 by the Trumbull Mall. When you see it, it looks complicated, but probably at least the one coming off the Parkway at the mall is sort of intuitive to use. So
right.
Hopefully. Hopefully increase safety at that intersection, because it is crazy.
Yeah, but I grew up in New Jersey, which was kind of the home of the roundabout. They call it the Circle. And the Ledgewood Circle, by where I grew up, was at one point the most dangerous place to drive in New Jersey, to the point that they tore that roundabout out and went to a structure kind of like the one Monroe is ripping out to put the roundabout in.
The roundabout is pretty much the same thing as a rotary, right? Because I lived in Massachusetts.
It's a rotary.
Yeah, it's a rotary.
It's a circle in New Jersey.
Yeah.
It's a roundabout.
See,
it's a rotary.
Look, kids, Big Ben, Parliament.
I mastered the rotary, and I think what makes them dangerous is that other people go up to them and they're like, they don't know what to do.
I'm sorry, they're like, what?
They just don't know what to do, so you have to go for it. That's the main thing in the rotary. You just go for it. It's my advice for all you people.
So how many people have you run off the roads there?
None. Thank you very much.
The roads aren't dangerous.
But I did have to move out of Massachusetts.
Oh yeah. What with all the lawsuits?
Roads aren't dangerous. It's the people on them.
Exactly.
Rotaries don't kill people.
Yeah, exactly. The roads will be dangerous, by the way, later this afternoon as snow does begin to fall. We are under a winter weather advisory until 2 o'clock Saturday morning. Most school districts in the area are dismissing early. We have already the postponement of tonight's Division II hockey championship at the Ingalls rink. That moved from 7:30 tonight to 6:30 tomorrow. Watch your Hersam Acorn sites for more postponements and delays. Be careful on the way home. We're calling for anywhere from 3 to 6 inches of snow tonight. And driving, they say, will be difficult. That's going to do it for your coffee break, presented by Stratford Orthodontics. Hope you survived seeing us on this first video edition.
We're going to stick around for Behind the News coming up right after this, so keep listening.
And watching.
Hersam Acorn and HANradio.com. The leader in local news, sports, arts, and entertainment in southwestern Connecticut.
Want to get in touch with HAN Radio? You can find us on Twitter at Hersam Radio, on Facebook at Hersam Acorn Radio, or email us at radio@hersamacorn.com.
It's behind your computer. Hopefully they turned them off there. Do we have a photo of Patty we can use? No, maybe off of her Google profile or something? We need to get moving here, guys.
Yeah, I know.
Because I got to get in there. Yeah, we will actually.
At one point,
we're
one of
shy
us,
of
I can get up.
microphone.
I don't mind getting up. Doug can take this.
Doug will sit next to Kate. So we'll go wide when that happens, but I want to keep the camera tight on Kate right now.
Right, yeah, we can do that beforehand. What?
Do you want me to go get a microphone? There's one in the car.
Yeah,
that'd be great. We don't need that till 12:30.
Hey, Patty, it's Kate. All right, so we're just gonna put you on hold for a minute and then bring you on, okay? All right, thanks. Okay, thanks so much, Patty.
Tell me when you're ready. We're ready.
We're just gonna have to.
They're ready. Yes.
John, the coffee break audacity is minimized, but it's not closed.
And you have Patty now.
Got a new call. I've got a new one open. Good.
Hersam Acorn Newspapers, publishers of the Greenwich Post, New Canaan Advertiser, the Darien Times, the Ridgefield Press, the Weston Forum, the Wilton Bulletin, the Reading Pilot, the Lewisboro Ledger, the Monroe Courier, the Eastern Courier, the Trumbull Times, Fairfield Sun, Shelton Herald, the Stratford Star, the Milford Mirror, and the Valley Gazette.
Hersam Acorn and HANradio.com. The leader in local news, sports, arts, and entertainment in southwestern Connecticut.
Welcome to HAN Radio's Behind the News, the show where three veteran Connecticut news editors go behind the stories with the columnists, photographers, reporters, and editors who covered them. They will discuss not only Hersam Acorn stories, but take a look at the media landscape in Fairfield and Westchester counties. They will discuss it all, the good, the bad, and the ugly. With John Kovach and Josh Fisher, here's your host, Kate Czaplinski.
Thanks, Rob. Well, today on Behind the News, we're going to be talking first with Patty Gay, assistant editor of the Weston Forum. She's been reporting on this local connection to this Robert Durst arrest. She's been doing a great job on that. And we're also going to be talking to Patty briefly about a sentencing that she's covering today at Danbury Court. So we're going to be talking with her in just a bit. Josh, what else is coming up?
Thanks, Kate. We're also going to be sitting down with Doug Smith here in our Shelton studios, where we're also live on video on the NFHS network today. Doug's going to be talking about a recent cartoon he did in Milford that raised the eyebrows of some, and he's also going to be teaching some kids how to get into cartooning this weekend. John?
But first, we are going to bring on Patty Gay, who is covering two stories, one of which is getting national attention, that being the Robert Durst case, which we've talked about now twice in a row. This is the third time on Coffee Break, because it is a local story, a number of local people involved in it, and now the news breaking overnight, one, that he had a mask and cash and appeared to have been maybe thinking about going on a vacation someplace, and number two,
He's always thinking about going on a vacation.
Guy's a world traveler. And number two, that they're thinking now, maybe is he a suspect in other deaths around the country. Patty, thanks for joining us. Now, you interviewed an attorney involved in the case this week?
Yes, I did. In Weston, attorney Ellen Strauss was a classmate of Kathy Durst when they were in college at WestCon, and that's how they met. And Ellen, she's an attorney, but she didn't work officially on the case. But when Kathy disappeared, Ellen conducted her own investigation, her own private investigation into Kathy's death, and she did turn over everything she had to police at the time to help them with their investigation. But of course, she kept copies of everything for herself. She's also kept a very lengthy timeline of events that happened around Kathy Durst's disappearance, and she was very happy to learn that Robert Durst had been arrested for the murder of Susan Berman.
Now, Patty, this attorney, she appeared in The Jinx, The Life and Deaths of Robert Durst, and that's the documentary that kind of uncovered this new information that helped lead to his arrest. What was her role in that documentary?
Yes, they initially they contacted Ellen and a lot of, you could also see this on the video, a lot of other friends of Kathy Durst, and they asked Ellen if she would appear on the documentary, and initially she said no. She told Andrew Jarecki, who produced the documentary, no, because she thought it would end up being like a poor little rich boy type documentary about poor Bobby Durst, and she really wanted no part of it. But they assured her, they said, look, we are not going to do that kind of documentary. We are going to do, the whole thing, the truth about things as much as we can get it. And she was convinced then to appear on it and discuss the fact that she had also done her own investigation into the case. And that included some heavy work that she did with Janine Pirro, who at the time was the Westchester District Attorney. And she had some after the sentencing, after Robert Durst's recent arrest, she had some rather scathing comments to make about Janine Pirro and the whole thing. So it turned out to be rather interesting.
She said that she was over the moon about his most recent arrest, I recall, which was on the headline on the front page of the Forum and certainly on the front page of WestonForum.com on Monday. Does she hopeful that this is going to be? The guy has been the prime suspect in 3 murders. He was acquitted of murdering his neighbor, Morris Black, who lived across the hall from him in an apartment building, and then cutting up his body and dumping it in Galveston Bay, but somehow got off for self-defense in that when Morris Black discovered who he was after he'd been dressing as a woman for a while and living across the street. So, this guy has more than 9 lives, it seems, Patty. Is she hopeful that this might be the time that he actually is found guilty?
Yeah, she really is, because what she thought was Susan Berman's death really was a key turning point for her, because she had given Janine Pirro and the Westchester DA's office a lot of information pointing that Susan Berman in California probably had a lot of information about Kathy Durst's disappearance. And the investigators were supposed to go out there and check out Susan Berman. But they dragged their feet. They didn't do it. And according to Ellen Strauss, Janine Pirro said, look, we don't want to spend the money to send someone out to California right now. We don't want to spend the money to do it. So they didn't send someone out right away. And then Susan Berman was killed. And Ellen Strauss believes that Susan Berman's death was probably preventable. And it was too bad that had happened. And had they talked to Susan Berman may have shed some light on Kathy Durst's disappearance. And so she's really happy that there seems to be maybe some resolution coming, and it will justify all the work that she's done.
How difficult must it be? For a friend and family of Kathy Durst, just to after all this time have no answers. Even this new evidence is really related to the Susan Berman murder. But is Ellen, close with any of Kathy's family, or has she talked with them about any of this?
That I don't know if she has, but I do know this. She said that there really is no justice for Kathy Durst with all of this, that she's probably going to remain disappeared. They're never probably going to find her body. There never will be 100% closure for the family or her friends. And this, though, is vindication. If he does get arrested and he does get put away in jail and he gets a prison sentence for Susan Berman's death, then that is vindication enough, she said. They can live with that, because she says she does not believe that if Bobby Durst did kill Kathy, that it was not done out of premeditation. It was probably following a fight or during a fight, and she doesn't think it was premeditated murder on his part. But she does think Susan Berman's death was premeditated, and so this would be satisfaction for her.
And Kathy Durst was afraid, right? Didn't she say something at one point about she was afraid that that her husband was going to do something to her?
Yes, Ellen said that she had confided in her that if anything happened to her, that Bobby Durst did it. Bobby Durst did something.
That's right.
If she disappears, and other friends said the same thing, that Kathy Durst was constantly telling them that. And it was not uncommon for Kathy Durst to go around with signs of being hit and hurt by Bobby, marks on her face, bruises. They believed that, they had been fighting quite a bit, that he had hurt her. She was going to file for divorce. She had met with a divorce attorney and was planning on divorcing him. And the thought was that, in Ellen's just that she had encouraged her to do that, to leave Bobby. So that may have, precipitated her murder and started it.
I think it's really powerful, and I mentioned this during coffee break, but Deborah Greenwood, who's the executive director of the Family Justice Center, said they named a safe house for women who are victims of domestic violence in Kathy's honor. It's called Kathy's Place, and I just thought that was a really, as terrible as this whole thing is, a nice way to honor that memory by trying to keep other women safe who find themselves in those situations.
I think that really is a noble, noble testament to Kathy Durst, and I think that is a really good thing to do. Yes, that's wonderful.
John?
So, even before the news this morning that they're looking at the possibility of Durst in other cases, Berman, the Galveston case, there was some proclivity for violence that people saw, it sounds like.
Every member of Durst's family has a restraining order out on him to prevent any contact with him. So, it's pretty bad. I mean, he has had a history of violence or threatening behavior, and it seems that really, unfortunately, it does seem to stem back to his childhood when he was a little boy, and he witnessed his mother's apparent suicide when she jumped off the family's home, and she died, and he saw that. And a lot of people think he never really got the counseling that he needed at the time, and that probably set up his behavior in the future.
Okay. All right. Well, Patty, is there any way we could keep you on the line for just a few minutes while we take a break and kind of come back and talk about this sentencing that you're going to be covering later today?
Sure, I'll be here.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. All right, you're listening to Behind the News on HAN Radio. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back with more after this.
Healthy, confident smiles begin at Stratford Orthodontics. Conveniently located on Main Street, we are Stratford's hometown orthodontist. We offer the latest in orthodontic technology, including Damon braces and Invisalign. We always accept new patients. Call today to schedule a complimentary consultation. 203-375-8332. Stratford Orthodontics, 2499 Main Street, Stratford. 203-375-8332. And online at stratfordsmile.com.
Just because it's no longer boat or beach season, you don't have to abandon your lifestyle. At the Dock Shop, it's beach season all year long. The Dock Shop has just loaded up with many new products that are perfect for the gift-giving season. Fishing tackle, jewelry, nautical-themed accessories, lighting, tableware, and more. Are you heading out for a tropical winter getaway? Come by the Dock Shop and check out styles by Margaritaville Apparel, Montauk Tackle, Game Guard, and others. Stop in at the Dock Shop and enjoy the New England coast all year long. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien. DockShop.com.
Does advertising on HANradio.com work? Just ask Coastal Orthopedics. They ran spots with us, and within 24 hours they had 21 walk-ins and 8 calls to their new immediate care center. To advertise on HANradio.com, call 203-417-5199 and ask for Marianne Hersam.
You're listening to Hersam Acorn Radio.
Just about 12:15 on Behind the News on HANradio.com. Kate Czaplinski with Josh Fisher, John Kovach. We still have Patty Gay on the line. She has a busy day ahead because, Patty, you're going to be covering the sentencing of a 21-year-old New Milford man who was arrested in connection to a fatal accident in Bethel that killed a Weston cyclist. This is a story you've been covering for a while. Is that right?
Oh, yeah, I did. I covered it right after he died. Tom Steiner-Threckeld died, and in fact, an obituary that I wrote about him was honored by the New England Newspaper Press Association, so it's a story that's close to me.
Wow. And so this man, I think he's 22 now, who's being sentenced today, when is that happening?
It's happening at 2 o'clock. In fact, because I didn't know if it was going to snow or not, I'm already here. I'm at the Danbury Courthouse right now.
Oh, wow.
Because I wanted to make sure that I got here before it started snowing. So I'm here now. So at 2 o'clock, he's scheduled to be sentenced. He initially pled not guilty, changed his plea to guilty, and so there was no trial. And this is the first time that the victims are going to get a chance to speak, and that's why I'm here.
Wow. And this was, I mean, quite an accident, too, just to remind people, because it did happen back in December of 2013. But Mr. Steiner-Threckeld was traveling east on Route 302 in New Milford when he collided with...
Bethel. Bethel.
Oh, I'm sorry, Bethel, rather, in Bethel. When he collided with Lee's vehicle as it turned onto Old Hollyville Road, and then the cyclist was thrown from his bike, and then another vehicle turning onto Old Hollyville Road, or turning from Old Hollyville Road onto 302, hit Steiner-Threckeld and pinned him underneath. So, I mean, what an awful accident. And, Patty, you did write a beautiful obituary about him that was just, you know, we talked about this up in Boston, not to get off this case, but it was another really nice example of what we could do as community journalists to remember people who have died. And he seemed like a really, you know, kind of special man. Can you tell us more about him?
Oh, sure. And I agree with you. This is what separates community news from just the type of news that you see in larger dailies where it's just the facts and nothing but the facts. I mean, we really try to connect with the people in the community. And Tom was one of those guys. I mean, he was a successful businessman and business editor and journalist, and he was known professionally for that. But personally, he was an incredible cyclist with a huge heart. I mean, he loved to cycle. I mean, it was his passion, as well as eating was his passion. He loved to eat. He loved good food. He loved food that people made. So he would schedule his bike rides to go to places like a lady's home or business where she made really good donuts or a good bakery. And in my case, I met him because I was doing a grilled cheese demonstration at the Northfield Grange in Weston, and Tom and another guy pulled up in their full cycling gear and cycling colors and outfits on their bikes. They had traveled all the way there and scheduled their route so that they could come have a grilled cheese. And Tom looked at me. He ate that grilled cheese. I'll never forget. Because he said, "Take your time," because there was a long line for these grilled cheeses.
Oh yeah, I've tried that grilled cheese.
He said, "Take your time, make it. Take your time." I took my time. I made them both cyclists these nice big grilled cheese sandwiches. Tom took one bite. He looked me in the eye, and then he said, "That is the best grilled cheese I've ever had." And so I'm always going to have that personal memory of Tom. He took pictures everywhere he cycled, all throughout New England, he took pictures. So he kept a blog full of beautiful pictures of, homes and trees and birds and lakes and all of New England. So he would send photographs to the forum every now and then when we would publish them. So he was very much a community-minded fellow. In fact, there was a huge irony to his death. He had also arranged several rides in silence for people who died cycling and they were hit by cars and died cycling, and he ended up becoming one of them. And he had arranged these rides. So it was just an incredible amount of irony to the way that he died.
Wow. And there's a great photo on the Weston Forum's website right now in your story, Patty, about the sentencing coming up, and it's a photo that was taken the day before Tom died, where he'd just finished, he'd been on a 62-mile cycling trek along Lake Mahopac with his friend Peter Lidoff, who took this photo. It's a very just kind of touching photo of Tom looking out at the lake with his bike behind him. He's sitting on a bench and just kind of staring off onto Lake Mahopac, which is a beautiful lake, not far from Weston, but quite a hike, a 62-mile hike, and it's just too bad that the next day, and it kind of shows you never know what's going to happen. And he certainly, though, seemed to enjoy his life and his cycling while he was doing it.
Yeah, I'll tell you, his family is so disturbed. His widow, Kate, is a delightful, wonderful woman, and she's just broken up. I mean, she told me, Patty, probably there's a plea bargain, and I'm sure, Alexander Lee is going to get a sentence of some prison time today. We're expecting that. But she said, Patty, Alex gave us a life sentence. We're serving a life sentence for what happened to Tom. And you can just feel their pain that they're all going through, and Tom's wife and his sons, they're going through a lot of pain right now.
I'm sure that's going to be a really emotional story to cover. John?
Now, Patty, as a cyclist, I'm familiar with these rides of silence, and there is an inherent danger in cycling on public roads. I've had vehicles come at me occasionally. Are they doing any kind of a ride in his honor?
They did. They did one last year in Danbury. They had a ride of silence in Tom's honor. In fact, right before his death, he had sent us an email that he wanted to organize another ride of silence for A.J. Chena, who was a teenage boy who died in a cycling accident in Weston. And Tom said he was going to be organizing a ride for A.J.
Wow. Well, Patty, that's a lot you have coming up. I'm sure it's going to be emotionally draining just to hear those, testimony from the family and to see all that. Are you going to be posting a story at the Weston Forum? Okay.
As soon as the sentencing's over, I'm going to go right to my computer and I'm going to post what happened today. And then in next week's forum, I'm going to post a fuller story with victim statements and such. But I'm going to right away. I will be posting the sentence and what goes on in the court.
All right. Well, Patty Gay, thanks so much for coming on Behind the News and talking to us about this. And everyone should definitely check out thewestonforum.com later today for more on that story. Thanks, Patty.
Thanks a lot. Good luck. Thank you.
All right. We're coming up on 12:24 on Behind the News.
I think Patty really hit on something in that, and that is the difference between what we do in terms of community news in print, online, radio, and video now, and that is you're so much closer to and see the effects more of a tragedy such as that.
You really do, John. And it was, you two unfortunately weren't there for it, but it was a fun conversation we had on Behind the News when Rob and I were hosting it up in Boston before the New England Press and Newspaper Association Convention and Awards. It was a conversation that you can find on our archives, on our SoundCloud file, and on our HN Radio website, where it was Patty and Mac Reed of the Ridgefield Press, Aaron Marsh of the New Canaan Advertiser, Rob, and myself, all just kind of talking about that and how the average person thinks of obituary writing as this morbid type of thing. And I know when one of my first jobs in this business, part of it was writing obituaries. And at first it was like, oh my God. But then it's actually, there's something kind of neat about it because you get to write these things. It's kind of almost the last word for a lot of these people. And it's something that's very special to families and so important. And it's something that was, I just took a lot of pride in taking care to do it right. And sometimes it was just something simple, a few paragraphs. Other times it was something longer. And it's always nice and an odd feeling when you talk to the family about it. But generally, 9 times out of 10, it's very cathartic for the family. And the family likes it that someone's being remembered. Yeah. Generally, you want your lost loved ones to be remembered. And it's something that we luckily get to take some time to do in our business.
We all,
right,
sometimes
of course.
we don't have time to do it,
of course.
But
Well, we used to have more time to do it, right?
Yeah.
Particularly when it was just printing a paper once a week.
Right.
You could really take the time to do it.
But how many times when you printed a paper once a week did you get an obituary and the services were...
Right, afterwards.
Before you went to press, and that's where the web really helped us out, was to be able to get services there. It's everybody has a story. Everybody, and I can't tell the story more beautifully, more poignantly, or any better than they do in It's a Wonderful Life. And everybody's life touches so many others. And I think it really is in the obituaries where you see that, where you can look at it and see who this person was close to and what they did, and that everybody really does have a place in the community.
Of course, we also had a rather interesting obituary that appeared in another newspaper of ours this week, in the New Canaan Advertiser, and on ncadvertiser.com. They kind of got some people up in arms. At least one person apparently canceled their subscription to the New Canaan Advertiser over Carl Frederick Wilhelm Grossman's obituary, 97 years old. The original photo included this man. He was in the German army in the 40s in his SS uniform.
Well, it wasn't an SS
uniform. It was a German army uniform.
It was a German
not
army
an SS uniform.
Yeah, big difference.
Well, that was what the person who called up and canceled their subscription.
They thought, yes,
well, they were
right. And I understand that's a very sensitive, topic. And somebody thought that this man was, a member of the SS, which, carried out the most heinous crimes of the Nazi regime during World War II, but he wasn't a German soldier outfit, and I mean, that caused some people to feel a little uncomfortable about that.
Yeah, he was apparently injured 7 times during World War II, and including in 1943 in Stalingrad, which his family credited that saved his life because it got him out of Stalingrad before the Russian encirclement. But some people did not take kindly to
but it's a resident who passed away, and you have to...
News is news. Certainly, as a former editor of that paper, I heard from 1 or 2 people about that, and they were not happy about that happening. But we're gonna run stories of people dying in the paper. It's an important thing to do.
There's a lot of heinous people whose obituaries you have to run who never donned a German army uniform during World War II.
Yes.
I mean, that World War II happened.
Right.
That man fought for the Germans in World War II. All of these things are true and happened. Mm-hmm. And our job is to document what happened when you get to the core of it.
Whether good or bad. Yes.
Correct. And there are times that you're going to end. I think to cancel your subscription over the fact that you ran an obituary that the family submitted that acknowledged the fact that the man served with the German army during World War II. I mean, what else do you want to hide from? How little do you want to know?
There's also been some, I don't know what the right word is, but, years ago, one of our publications got a fake obituary that they ended up running.
Oh,
that was certainly a favorite about this former nun who...
Oh my gosh!
You
remember it. You can quote lines. I've heard you quote lines.
I forget her name though. But it was talked about how she went to Seton Hall and her greatest achievement was the Catholic Church's reinstatement of Galileo into the Church of forgiving him. It was just this odd type of thing, and she ran a non-denominational soup kitchen. But at the end, it noted that she died in somewhere in Idaho, and the final line I will always remember was she died while playing gin rummy with her best friend Willie, the mentally disabled janitor.
And that was who sent a fake obituary.
And good, fishing friend of yours, John, was the editor of the paper that that ran that.
Oh boy.
And it was a weird. It had a slight. She lived in Wilton maybe at one point, but it was. And we did when Susan Schultz actually discovered this obituary back when she and I worked together at the Darien Times years ago. And we did all this research trying to find out if this even actually existed. The place where she did. It was very tough finding a lot of this stuff, but they got one by us. Which good for them. Whoever sent that in, you can't get them all, and it's provided years and years of enjoyment. Actually, every time Sister Mary Margaret Genevieve, I believe was her name.
Yeah.
I do remember it.
Oh boy.
But it's something we have to guard against as well.
Yeah, well, it's a little bit easier nowadays to do it than it was. This was around 06 or so.
Yeah, it's a little easier.
Yeah, so
and it was easier to get that stuff through.
It sure was. So next we're going to be talking with Doug Smith, Hersam Acorn's cartoonist. You're listening to Behind the News on HANradio.com.
Just because it's no longer boat or beach season, you don't have to abandon your lifestyle. At the Dock Shop, it's beach season all year long. The Dock Shop has just loaded up many new products that are perfect for the gift-giving season. Fishing tackle, jewelry, nautical-themed accessories, lighting, tableware, and more. Are you heading out for a tropical winter getaway? Come by the Dock Shop and check out styles by Margaritaville Apparel, Montauk Tackle, Game Guard, and others. Stop in at the Dock Shop and enjoy the New England coast all year long. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road. Visit us at dockshop.com.
Alliance. We are an industry leader in coordinating transportation for large events such as corporate road shows, conferences, and special events. Our team of experts understands the dynamics and logistics of high-pressure situations and complex arrangements, all within a rapidly changing environment. Since 1999, we have added charter jets, event management, and personal protection to our range of services. Mention this ad for $25 off your next round-trip reservation. Alliance and you. Together, we can achieve the extraordinary. 855-546-6996 or alliancelimo.com.
It's lots of characters. Specializing in children's birthday parties with your child's favorite characters. When you want to party hardy, when you need to celebrate, call us, we won't be late. We help create lasting memories for you and your child on their special day. Call us at 203-590-1791 or visit our website at lotsofcharacters.org for more information and to see our party packages. Lots of Characters, 203-590-1791 or online at lotsofcharacters.org.
Your child has fallen and broken his arm. You need to see an orthopedist fast. Think Coastal Ortho Express in Norwalk. Don't wait hours in the ER. Save a trip and money by going straight to an orthopedic specialist at Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care in Norwalk. No appointment necessary. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care, 203-845-2070. Open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk or call 203-845-2070. Fast.
Hersam Acorn and HANradio.com.
Welcome back to Behind the News on HANradio.com, along with my co-host Kate Czaplinski, John Kovach. I'm Josh Fisher. We're joined now by one of our favorite guests. We have a few regulars here on Behind the News who pop up at least once a month or so, and Doug Smith is one of them, the very talented and very hilarious cartoonist. We have Doug, first of all, welcome to the first video edition of Behind the News. It's great to have you here. And so I know this. We're going to talk about it this weekend. You're going to be doing some workshops up in Ridgefield.
Yeah,
right.
The 2015 Young Writers Conference.
Very exciting.
Yeah, it's at East Ridge Middle School. They're bringing in a bunch of talented professional people to work with the kids, do seminars. They're also bringing me.
Mm-hmm. So
you're a talented professional.
You missed my joke.
I got it.
I hesitated responding. Just get a little closer to the mic if you don't mind. Okay, great. That's perfect. So what do you? Well, you know what? Before we get to that, though, I want to talk about something a little bit more exciting. We have it. If you're watching us on air right now, or you're watching us on the NFHS network, we have the a copy of the cartoon that we ran. So Milford Hospital stopped. They're going to be no longer delivering babies. As we try to move Doug to get him right in, get him in the frame. Get a little closer to Kate.
Come on over.
She's
Put the
usually
mic here.
she's usually nice.
Yeah.
Lens there.
It's a small studio, so we like to get
Studio,
close,
yeah.
for warmth.
We had a Globetrotter in this studio earlier this
Yeah.
week with Paul and Rob, and he was doing
They're
tricks
usually
right
big
behind
guys.
us. You know?
Yeah, they take up a lot of
Man,
space.
and you can watch that video. It's up at hanradio.com right now, which we had Paul and Rob had some fun with Buckets Blakes of the Globetrotters earlier this week. But so Milford Hospital ended its. They're no longer delivering babies.
Right.
So you did this cartoon. Can we put that up on the video if possible here? Tell us about this cartoon, Doug.
Oh, it was, like the cartoon says, they're after 90 years, they're stopping delivering babies. So it wasn't, and I guess some folks got upset by that cartoon.
It's pretty funny.
Wait, I haven't seen it, so can you describe what it looks like?
It has, you just see hands coming out of the door of the hospital, and it says after 90 years, Milford Hospital ending obstetrical services, and then the talking bubble says Bridgeport Hospital is just off exit 32. You can't miss it, and you see a little newborn baby kind of flying out on a cart.
On the pre.
So people were offended by that?
Yeah, well, I guess, people have sentimental attachments to the hospital because their kids were born there, and it's, it's been an institution for nearly 100 years.
Yeah.
And, again, like the editorial says, it wasn't meant to be mean or anything. It was just taking a sad situation, trying to find some humor in it. But,
right.
Yeah, I believe Milford Mirror editor Jill Dion, all her kids were born there.
Wow.
And, it seems like that's the best part of a hospital is that babies are born there,
Right.
Otherwise
That's
it could be quite a depressing place.
Anybody who's in a hospital for whatever reason, at some point you got to go see the babies because it
makes you
at
feel
least
better.
gives you a little bit of hope.
And honestly, I've had the pleasure of being in Norwalk and Bridgeport, New Haven, and Griffin, and Milford, and I got to say, I really like Milford Hospital.
Really?
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's a nice hospital. It is.
Hopefully I don't have to go back there again.
Yeah, knock on wood. They might remember you and then refuse treatment.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. But that's one of the things too I like about Doug's cartoons too, is because you do push the envelope with them. It's not just all, this is a nice paper community. You like to push it some, which is fun. And you and I have had a lot of fun together offending people.
Because Josh likes to offend as well.
I love to offend people. There's nothing better than offending people. Other than getting stuff right.
John seems to like my not my touchy-feely, but the
Your
good
poignant
cartoon.
stuff.
But
I like
John's a big softie.
I like to rattle cages from time to time too. But
John
yeah, I
is a
like
big
your
softie.
poignant cartoons that kind of had to kind of sometimes convince you that you got it.
I did one last week. It was about the what's the theater in Ridgefield? The
Prospector.
The Prospector, where they
yes.
work with the kids there.
Special
And I
needs
did
kids.
like an Oscar statue saying the Academy overlooked one of the best parts about movies, and it shows Prospector Theater engraved on the Oscar.
Oh, that's nice.
That's good.
Yeah, that's a great
that I like.
organization that opened. Yeah, that's amazing
It
what
really
they're
is.
doing
and
there.
it's not just special needs kids; it's special needs adults too. So
Right.
a lot of them who live up at Sunrise Cottage, up there on Sunset Lane.
Yeah.
So it's a very cool thing
How
they're doing
amazing.
So maybe
Yeah.
my detractors won't know I'm that evil,
Do you really want him to know that, though? You should
Nah,
keep the rep
well,
going.
One thing that I've discovered that is fun since I just started working up in the Shelton office now full time about a month ago. So, and Doug used to maybe inner office me something every now and again, but every now and again he'll just draw up something kind of funny and just walk by my desk and give it to me. Like, you never know what's going
They
to happen.
usually say shred this after you read it.
Yeah, those are always good days, and those are always burn after reading.
Yeah, scatter the ashes and bury them in a crossroads. And
I was reworking my desk area, like had out actual screwdrivers and taking walls down and everything like that. And Doug did a little fort, like Josh's fort, with a no girls allowed sign on it.
That's
so stay
awesome.
away, Czaplinski.
You did have.
I try at all costs to do so. So, Doug, what are you going to be working on with the kids this weekend in Ridgefield?
it's just a teaching seminar. Show them, the basics of cartooning. Tell them a bit about what I do. I've got a power book there. I've got a big drawing pad, a big whiteboard.
Mhm.
We'll have exercises for the kids. Like here's a cartoon. Can you think of a caption for it? We'll hold them up in the class, talk about them,
fun.
and hopefully, it's I guess 2 classes of 3rd graders and 1 class of 5th graders. And I was talking to a friend of mine up at the Hartford Current who draws cartoons, and I was asking him for advice, and he was saying, well, for the 3rd graders, draw funny animals. For the 5th graders, draw the president. And I was like, okay, but I'm just
interesting.
thinking I'll get in there, and the little ones will want just SpongeBob, and the older kids will just ask about Marvel Comics.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
Were you a comics guy?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, look, we've had the conversation because the comics in the paper were probably what hooked me on newspapers.
You're right. I mean, I loved all aspects: the funnies, comic books, cartoons.
No one says seeing the funnies anymore. Seeing
No.
the funny pages
Yeah,
anymore.
that's
you
true.
know?
That's
It's
been a
kinda
long
too
time
bad.
since I've
Because
heard
they
that.
shrunk them down to thumbnails.
Well, remember the Sunday paper used to come wrapped in the funnies,
Yeah.
and it was like 8 pages, and they were broadsheets and.
I remember when my family moved out here to this area, and we had a subscription to the local paper and also to the New York Times, and my dad's reading the New York Times. I'm like, give me the, let me see the comics. He's like, we don't have any comics in this paper. I'm like,
Oh.
what do you mean? How can a newspaper publish without having any comics?
Right.
In it? It took a little while to understand that concept, and I still think that the old gray lady missed the boat on that one. We could have done some New Yorker type cartoons, highbrow. So
Yeah, they never went for my lowbrow humor.
You have some highbrow humor too, but you really hit the lowbrow rather well.
High for Doug ain't New Yorker.
What's your favorite?
That ain't New Yorker highbrow.
What's your favorite topic or type of cartoon to do?
Usually just poking fun at the hypocrisy of the bureaucracy in towns, the politicians.
Yeah,
Just
I think that's why we get along.
Yeah. Well, I always say, it's like I don't make the humor, they do. I just illustrate it.
And you recently you just won first place for best editorial cartoon by the New England Newspaper
Yes.
Press Association. Congratulations!
Thank you.
You weren't there.
No.
So we were talking earlier today.
Yes.
I went up and accepted your plaque and took a picture, getting it awarded. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping that in the bulletin that the organization puts out each month, there's a picture that says Doug Smith Award winner, and it's a picture of me.
Okay.
Always trying to steal people's thunder.
You look better than me anyway. So.
You just established that he rattles cages and gets people upset. Now you're going to be the one they hunt down. That should go
But
well.
this is kind of following a trend because this year people are going to think you're Doug Smith. Last year you
That's
didn't
right.
win, but your cartoon went up when the
Yeah,
winner was
that's right.
announced. So it seems like
Comedy
there's
of errors
this
up there.
trend. Yeah. Oh boy.
Well, Doug, it's always fun to sit down with you and talk about this. Any big topics you have coming up next week? I know on Thursdays and Fridays you start working on the next week's cartoons.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I asked you the other day, Kate. Is that still an issue in
Yeah.
Trumbull?
The painting, yes.
Which
He did some cartoons for me on that. It's kind of died down a bit, but we
Okay.
still have to see what happens
'Cause
next.
I was actually in touch with the artist, and I sent
You
her one of the
spoke to her.
cartoons. Yeah, and one of the cartoons we didn't run, it just had the offensive painting there, and someone's yelling, "Take that down!" The person's taking the painting, saying gladly, and slamming it over their head.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And,
Yeah. Oh, I'm
so
glad you
I
sent her those.
I sent that to her, and she got a kick out of it. But it's kind of sad because they just feel bad that there's no hostility or anything on their parts.
I know.
So-
It's very
Right.
upsetting. And now the painting's going to hang there still with the damage on it, which I think is a very powerful
Yeah.
statement. And I think that's a cool thing, actually. It's like a
Yeah.
battle scar.
Yeah, exactly.
It is, kind of
Well,
fighting
Doug
against...
Doug does a great job of that too, really, and it's pointed out hypocrisy, but using just those images and a few words to point that out, and to really,
That's
stand
hard
up,
to do.
stand
We
up for
use
the
a
First
lot of
Amendment
words.
too. Yeah,
We use a lot of words to
sometimes too
communicate
many.
things.
Because I can't spell,
So-
so I need pictures.
You know what I would like to see you do more, to be honest with you?
What's that?
Hartford. Because what goes on in Hartford is an endless sense of tragicomedy.
It is. You've had some fun with the governor, over the years, right?
Oh yeah.
Yes. So, it's always I'm scrolling through some of them here, and I can't find one of them, and there's not one that certainly.
Was the one we did something about the state capitol. They had like an air show, and then we made it air show because it was in Hartford, ERR.
Oh, my God.
Well, Doug Smith, thanks for joining us.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
On Behind the News. We're going to take another quick break. We're going to come back and look at the top stories around our region over the past week. You're listening to Behind the News on HANradio.com.
Your child has fallen and broken his arm. You need to see an orthopedist fast. Think Coastal Ortho Express in Norwalk. Don't wait hours in the ER. Save a trip and money by going straight to an orthopedic specialist at Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care in Norwalk. No appointment necessary. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care, 203-845-2070. Open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or call 203-845-2070. Fast.
Healthy, confident smiles begin at Stratford Orthodontics. Conveniently located on Main Street, we are Stratford's hometown orthodontist. We offer the latest in orthodontic technology, including Damon braces and Invisalign. We always accept new patients. Call today to schedule a complimentary consultation. 203-375-8332. Stratford Orthodontics, 2499 Main Street, Stratford. 203-375-8332. 8332 or online at stratfordsmile.com.
Hersam Acorn and HANradio.com.
It's about 12:45 on Behind the News on HANradio.com. I'm Kate Czaplinski with Josh Fisher and John Kovach, and if you're watching, you can see that. It's amazing. It's our first televised Behind the News.
Are you going to go back and watch this today?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to, the whole thing. I'm just going to zoom in on myself the whole time and just watch. Yeah, I can't wait.
I mean, it's weird because normally during these things, Kate's just taking selfies of herself the entire time as she's talking.
That's
so it's kind of odd not to see that happen. Throw it off a little bit here.
I'm sorry about that. So, guys, we're taking a look at some of the top stories this week.
And tragedy tops it from your town, Kate, where a 24-year-old man died in an automobile accident Tuesday morning.
Yeah, that was a one-car accident. His car crashed into a boulder, and they said the accident was so bad it took quite a while to extricate him, but he was dead at the scene. 24 years old and a U.S. Marine who had served 2 tours in Afghanistan. So very sad story there.
John Daniel Krutner.
Yes,
right?
John Daniel Krutner, known by Dan to many, and just very sad. It's interesting but unrelated. But I was just listening to sort of unrelated. I was listening to an NPR show about young men in the military and how when they're at base waiting to go to war, the biggest thing that people worry about is the car accidents, because so many of them end up dying in fatal car accidents. And, part of that could be just, they're getting ready for war. They feel invincible. It's that mindset. And so there's been like such an effort over the last, 15 years or so to try to bring that down and try to get them to, be careful. And I'm not saying that's in any way related to this, but it made me think of that I just heard this past weekend.
Well, there's always so much that we could be doing better, I think, as a nation to help our men and women who serve the country when they come back from war. We as a nation are sending them over there.
And they're young.
We should be doing more for them
when they come back. We are not shy about spending to send them over there, and then when they come back, we're leaving them to fend for themselves.
Yeah,
and it's some of those who want to spend the most to send people off to fight who want to ignore their needs when they come back.
All those
hypocrites
who act like they bleed nothing but red, white, and blue. But it's just for the cameras, and it's like we were talking about the hypocrisy locally. That's some of the hypocrisy that happens nationally, and it's really too bad. Always to see something like that happen, a tragedy. Anyone who dies, but then particularly someone who just got back after serving his nation in
so
Afghanistan.
Young. Can you imagine 24 and already 2 tours in Afghanistan? Like, wow. I'm 29. I can't say that I've done. You know what I mean? I can't comprehend that at all.
You can't compare your tour to covering Trumbull and Tim Herbst to that, but it's close.
No, also up there, the tragic loss of a 13-year-old girl.
Oh my gosh.
In Ridgefield, died unexpectedly. An arrest in New Canaan for heroin, and I think those get a ton of hits because I think people are still in denial about the heroin problem in the suburbs that we've talked about.
An accused dealer of heroin in New Canaan, which certainly, and we've talked about that on Behind the News a few times about the growing heroin problem and how people get addicted to the opiate pills. It's cheaper and easier to find a heroin on the street and do that. It's certainly a big problem. We've seen a number of overdoses and deaths in recent years because it's a growing problem in the suburbs. It's just because you're in a well-off community such as New Canaan doesn't mean that there's in fact also possibly a greater
risk
of that happening there. You know, I was actually watching recently Real Sports on HBO, and they did a really interesting piece. God, I can't remember which reporter did it, but it's such a wonderfully done show, and about how all these high school athletes, when they get injured, they get these opiate prescriptions to help them, and it's very easy for them to get addicted to it. In fact, they represent a very high percentage of the kids who get addicted to opiates and then end up doing heroin because their addiction's so good. And there's kids who've lost scholarship, kids whose entire lives have been ruined, just because it's so easy for doctors to give them these opiate prescriptions.
But did you ever see the Parts Unknown, Anthony Bourdain Parts Unknown on CNN when he was in Massachusetts and talked about his days, and he makes no secret that he lived a pretty wild life for a while.
He used to be a heroin addict, yeah.
But that they do a good job of looking at, and Massachusetts has really been hit hard by it, and how it's the opiates that back in the 80s we just started managing everybody's pain with opiates.
They're highly addictive, but they're also expensive to buy on the street, so that's why people will turn to heroin, because it's a similar high, but it's less expensive. I know that brands like OxyContin has reformulated their pills because this problem is so out of control, so they've actually reformulated where, instead of people being able to smash them up in order to snort it, now you can hit it with a hammer and it actually doesn't break apart. It's pretty amazing. The Hartford Courant did a story on this a few weeks back, and they had a video where they tested it, and they had the old version of OxyContin and the reformulated version, and you hit it with a hammer and it doesn't break apart, which just makes it harder to abuse in the sense if you're going to snort it. Obviously you can still take it, it's that same high, but it's a little bit different. It makes it not as much of a party drug, perhaps. So I mean, it's interesting. It's definitely a growing problem.
Let me bring my own news judgment into question on this one, Josh.
Always fun.
Because this story came up every morning with Coffee Break, which we broadcast from 11 to 12 every day, and we go through and check the websites and the papers for the stories. And the sale of this house in Ridgefield at Maine and Gilbert was new, and I looked at it and I hemmed and hawed, and yes and no, and we did end up using it, but I'm like, is it really that big a deal? And then it ends up being the 5th most hits.
Huge deal in that town.
In the chain.
And
why?
Well, I mean, and Kate is a former reporter of the Ridgefield Press. I am a former resident of Ridgefield, and Brian Hafley, actually, who's directing this show live on video, is a former Gilbert Street resident. He used to live down the street from this multifamily house that has just fallen into almost disrepair, and it's right on the corner of Main Street and Gilbert Street. And Main Street is a historic, beautiful, picture perfect, picture card street. It's and it's historic in the sense that also the Battle of Ridgefield was fought there. So this house, which is at 509, it's right by 509 Main Street on the corner of Gilbert and Main. A family wants to, someone has bought it, and they want to maybe turn it into high-end condos, which is exciting for Ridgefield.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, huge deal, and that's, Mac Reed wrote a nice, lovely story about it, as usual, and ties in some of the history with it. It's across the street from the Elms, which is now a former bed and breakfast restaurant place. It was which was a great. That place opened up in the 18th century, so it was always fun. It used to be fun to go there and eat. When you had the money to do so. It wasn't cheap either. I saw Dick Morris eating there once, though, right after the whole toe sucking thing came out with his wife. So that was kind of interesting. It was nice to see them out and trying to work things out. What? Why are you looking at me like that?
Interesting side note. Yeah.
Nothing.
We're on video today, so be careful.
All I did was look.
John's hands have been interestingly by his side for most of the day today.
I know, he's been so subdued.
It's kind of disappointing.
Be yourself, John.
There's a look, too. Wow, if looks could kill, I'd be dead right now.
I hope they got that. I really do. Kate, another story out of Trumbull, and there were a few features here and a lot of crime stories that got hits, was the story that Trumbull is now looking for a health director, having for money savings withdrawn from the regional health district it was in.
Yeah, this story got a lot of hits because the town's just recently posted a lot of positions, including for a new health director, because the town council voted to leave the Trumbull-Monroe Health District, which was obviously, a two-town health district, and it had its own director and its own staff. So now Trumbull has to create its own health department, and in doing that, they need a health director. Another of the positions they're looking for is in Tim Herbst's proposed budget, which still hasn't been approved by the town council, but that's for a new director of Parks and Recreation. Even though there is a Parks director and there is a Recreation director, this would be another position to oversee both of them. According to, there's more on this at TrumbullTimes.com, but Tim Herbst says that, there needs to be a lot of reorganization in that department, and this new position wouldn't be part of a union and could help increase revenue from some of the recreation programs and help create efficiencies. He said it'll actually save to have this
person. But it
person.
also kind of sounds like it's adding another layer of government.
Right,
That
was exactly my thought.
Which a lot of people have been opposed to, and they've been talking about it on social media and a few comments on our website. A lot of people don't love the idea of just adding a new position like this. It's about $91,000. So, we'll see what happens. It still has to go through the town council, so
Right.
we'll see if they leave it or,
I'm still trying to figure out what kind of Republican Tim Herbst is. It just, he never ceases
But
to
it's
amaze
not
every week.
unique to him. How many
Yeah.
other Republicans get elected on this, I'm going to make smaller government, and then we start reorganizing, and before you know it, you've got a bunch. It's not him. It's
Well, it's also
the party in and of itself.
You're right, and it is also something you see town leaders have to do, because then when you create a new position, then you get to fill it with exactly who you want to have be in it. And a lot of officials in various towns, not just Trumbull, like to have complete and ultimate control over every little thing and micromanage the hell out of their town. And they want to
Correct.
make sure they can bring in somebody who can be very controlled.
They want their guy with their muscle in control of their department in their town.
Reminds me of when Franklin Roosevelt tried to increase the size of the Supreme Court. Remember that, John?
Yeah.
Well, I was just a wee boy.
By the way, speaking of departments in turmoil, you worked in New Canaan after I did. I know the parties involved in this case. A lot of hits on this where the police chief and the police sergeant, who also happens to be head of the union, are in a pretty heated battle in the media and in court.
Yeah. Well, it's and I have not, John, had a chance to follow this super closely, but I know that there's a lot going on in there. There's been a kind of a behind-the-scenes fight going in at the police station, which is serving as town hall also right now, over all of this. And still a somewhat new police chief in New Canaan, and a union that is doing things that unions do. And that's all I really, can say without knowing full well about it. But I know that there's also a little bit more to this story, too.
Another New Canaan story written by Michael Katarivas is about New Canaan's original soccer mom takes poignant path to new career. So this is a former, very involved New Canaan woman, now Julie Stauffer, now 70. I guess she recently went to Cuba and compiled a bunch of images that she took while there that are now being displayed in New Canaan at Baldanza Natural Market Cafe. And so, it seems pretty cool. She's capturing these images of a place that's, been a mystery and off limits to Americans for a long time. And so this has kind of propelled her into this new career as a photographer at 70 years old, which I think is awesome.
I looked at some of those photos at ncadvertiser.com.
Yeah,
Very
beautiful.
cool stuff.
Yeah, really
Very
cool
stuff.
Really cool. Well, guys, it's been real.
Has it? And there's video evidence.
There's video evidence
to
of
prove
it.
how real it has been.
Yes, but we are going to sign off now from Shelton, and we're going to throw things to the Ridgefield studio for Radio Arts and Leisure. So for John Kovach and Josh Fisher, everyone have a great weekend.
Hersam Acorn and HANradio.com.